morning, my name is Endmyre, and today I'm going to be showing you, in my opinion, the stupidest Lightmint.io deck that I have found so far. So as you can see, let me just give you a quick show of my preview, Legend 292. I've got about 3.5 thousand games, and my season KDR is about 4.75, so not too bad. The deck I'm going to be showing today consists of Brawler, which is an exclusive card, Victory Rush, very aggressive, Shockwave, very aggressive, Biohazard, very aggressive, and you see an Armor Strike and you're favorited and you're like, what the heck, what is this guy doing? And you see an Overload spec. So what Overload spec does is that let me just check the shop. So we can look at the shop to find out how many wins it takes to get Overload spec and every single other card in the game. So scroll down and we'll find Overload spec and we see, oh, it's 450 wins. So at 450 wins, we get Overload spec. And what it does is that it protects you from drains, and it also gives you 10 starting armor. If we read the description of Armor Strike, it does double your damage in armor, which means that if you go first, you have a potential of doing 20 damage. And 20 damage is significant. It's the second highest possible damage in the entire game for first turn. So we look at this draw, and we're like, well, that's pretty good, right? So against a Grandmaster, 43 cards. So in general, shouldn't be too tough of a fight. So we see we do 22 damage starting because I have a Guardian Droid here that gives me +1. Since droids are added before Armor Strike or any other cards are played, then we do that. Here I have a Shockwave, it'll deal hand damage, and since I only have one hand damage card, I'll play Primal Overload. So even worst case scenario, I can play Shockwave and then Hellfire 5. So let's see what this guy does. He plays a big Overload, and I'm just hoping I draw a damage card. Unfortunately, 2 damage short is still fine. I can play my Shockwave here. So looking at his card count, we can see he's got 43 cards, so he does not have Second Life or Survival spec. So I don't really need to worry about that. And if we count the energy, I think each of his cards should be sitting on approximately 12 or 13 energy each, or maybe 16. I wasn't counting super carefully. If we add 15 to that, assuming it's Biohazard, it's not enough to one-shot me. And here I can just play any card. I'll just play Brawl 5 damage. Doesn't really matter. If he had Survival spec, or if I thought he had Survival spec, you usually always want to play lowest damage first, so you can save up your high damage to deal the big damage later. Let's try again. Next turn. So here I have my Armor Strike. The reason it's favorited is because favoriting gives 75% additional draw chance to beginning. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but I'm not going to go in depth. So here, again, we can do 22 damage because, again, Guardian Droid added first. And here now we have a pretty aggressive hand. Like, he's sitting on 13 HP, he's going to heal or something, otherwise he's going to die. Yeah. Remote Shell. So here's where the Firewall comes in handy. And this is just pure damage, right? So we play 10 damage, we draw Biohazard next, it's 15 damage. There's no way of drawing Shockwave, so that might have been the worst play, but we can see that, I mean, clearly, I think this is pretty much over, right? So that's 2 wins. Let's go play a few more, and let's see. Just gotta give a quick disclaimer, you see me winning all of these games? This deck is not good. I mean, I've been getting like 3 KDR with this, and you might be like, well, that's pretty good, right? But considering that I can sometimes get like 7 or 8 KDR with high energy decks, and something like he plays a Hellfire, now my Armor Strike is completely useless, right? This is just like a pain, right? So here, I'm going to play Armor Strike. I'm just going to do my 2 damage. The goal is that I think the goal is that I'll play my Victory Rush. Here, look at this player. This player is a pretty good player. He plays pretty good. So I play Victory Rush. I draw Biohazard for 15 damage. I have 11 here next turn, so my Shockwave will do 26. It's not quite enough to kill him, which is really unfortunate. He plays Vanguard and armors him up. Good play by him. I think I just lose this one. So I play 26 damage here. I've got 15 in the pocket, so this is going to become 19 and 15 here, so it's clearly not enough. I think he's just got a one-shot here. Doesn't really matter. He could have Biohazard, anything. So well played to this guy. Plays Overload. Good play. Doesn't really matter. I mean, worst case scenario, best case scenario, he doesn't have a one shot here, but I highly doubt it. So we'll probably. What the heck? Really? Oh, that's really, really surprising. I really thought I was done for there, and I still think I'm done for, but we don't talk about that. So if I had played Overload 2 turns ago instead of playing Brawl, I don't think I would have been able to one-shot him here. And wow, I just clutch up the win. This guy just got killed by RNG. Unfortunate for him. He had played pretty well actually. I think he really had me there, but just got really unlucky. So we'll play one last game. So let's see how this works. Shockwave draw, that's pretty good. Shockwave draw, I'm generally not too big of a fan of this, but I'm very much a fan of dealing 22 damage on my first turn. And you might be wondering, oh, I said Armor Strike first is the second highest burst damage. Well, what's the first highest burst damage? It's actually Shockwave. So Shockwave can deal damage equal to your hand, and your draw can be Biohazard and Primal Hellfire, which I believe has a base of 11 with Hellfire Spec. No, yeah, with Hellfire Spec, it should have a base of 11. So then we can play 15 plus 11, which is 26 starting damage, which is just absolutely insane. I mean, I call it the God Hand because it's usually rarely stoppable by any deck. So I think here we just have picked up a win. Not too terrible player, but it doesn't really matter. I have a Biohazard here. Always play the smallest damage card. Even if you think they have survival spec, you should play the smallest damage card. So that's gonna be it for my stupid deck showcase.